Welcome to Conversations with Tenzin. I'm doing this broadcast because I meet a lot of interesting, a lot of wonderful, a lot of fascinating people on campus and in my life, and I don't want to forget the people and their stories, especially their stories. So today I have my very good friend Ale, Alejandra. We call her Ale from Mexico, and she is the better half of one of our SPURS fellow, Salvador. So welcome, Ale.
Thank you, Tenzin. I'm really thrilled to be here with you,
Thank you so
and
much.
to be able to share a little bit of who I am with you.
Thank you. So I'm going to be starting by asking the first question, which is I want to know your story, your journey so far. So who is Alejandra?
Who's Alejandra? Well, my story is a little bit too long, and I'm going to try to make it short.
Okay.
I was born in Mexico City. My both parents are dead by now. My mom died when I was 8 years, and then my father remarried with the she was my dentist, and she was married with Beatriz for 15 years, but she got cancer and she lived with cancer for 12 years. She passed away, and I have 3 more brothers. I'm the oldest.
I met one of your brothers.
Yes, you met my brother
He's a wonderful
Luis.
guy. Yeah,
Yes.
Luis is a wonderful guy.
Yes. You didn't met my sister, Daniela. I think you met my sister also.
Okay.
And
When did I meet her?
in Christmas.
Oh, yes, with
yes.
Luis. Yes.
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 And then I left my parents' home when I was 21. I left for another city in Mexico that is called Chihuahua. I lived there for 15 years. And I changed careers. I was trying to go into anthropology, but the people used to tell me, no, you're going to die of hungry because they don't pay well, but it's
You don't have job.
no, you won't have any job. But I really love the idea of understanding how people think and live, and how the rituals and cosmovision of world works. So I changed to anthropology, and then I went to Spain to do a master's degree. I got married in that moment, and I got divorced shortly after. I came
Very
back.
young marriage.
Yes. Well, we lived together for 6 years.
Okay.
And then we got married, and I went to Spain to do my master's degree. And while I was in Spain, things didn't work. So I came back to Mexico.
Long distance relationship.
Don't work. I came back to Mexico, got divorced, and then I spent time with my father because he was going through a very hard moment after losing the second wife. And I wanted to be with my father because I'm the oldest, and my father was really close to me. After my father started to get better, I went back to Chihuahua, finished my career, and then my father got a re-encounter with my mother's sister.
Oh,
so
okay.
He got married with my aunt. Yes, he got married with my aunt, and my father passed away 2 years ago.
And I met her.
Yes,
your aunt.
yes, you
she's
met
also
my aunt.
Very lovely, yeah.
And after that, I went back to Chihuahua and met Salvador. And we were going out, but nothing we didn't even have a name to what we were. But suddenly I got pregnant. So we had to decide if we were trying to be, or we were going to live together or not, or what. So we started living together, and that is almost 18 years ago. So
Nice.
It's been a long time.
Nice. And you have now 3 kids.
I have now 3
beautiful
kids.
Yeah.
Mateo, 17.
Yes.
Paula, 14. Renata, 12. So we're good. We're in a good place. We are reaching 50. I'm going to be 50 in a few days.
Salvador has already reached 50.
Yeah, he already reached 50. I'm going to be 50. And I think it's a very interesting time because you have to think about what you really want to do the rest of your life. Now, we're in these times we have bigger life expectations, like we can reach like 85, 90 probably if we have a good life. But I want to do what I really love the most. So when I started to be a mother, when I decided to be a mother, I really wanted to be with my kids because I don't remember my mom. I was 8 years and I don't have any recollection of my mom, anything. So I wanted to be there because I knew that the first years were really important for them. So I talked to Salvador. Salvador agreed, and I stayed home. We were in Chihuahua, then we went to Mexico because he got a job in WRI.
That is the World Resources Institute.
World Resources Institute. So I had the opportunity and great pleasure to be a full-time mom. We don't know how much time do we have. So we can really be a very transcendent presence in their life. So after my kids started to grow up and didn't needed me anymore, not that much, I went back to study, and I studied a master's degree in sexology, educational sexology. So it took me like 2 years and a half. The pandemic hit, so I finished like 3 years because we couldn't be in presence, and I needed to do some work together with all of the group. So it took me 3 years to finish. And a little bit shortly after, Salvador applied for the SPURS fellowship. And I think it's super important for us. He's been by my side when I decided to go back to school, and I've been by his side all the time. So I think we made a very good team.
So you have a support mechanism.
Yes.
When you wanted to study, he's home, and when he wants to study, you're taking care. That's
So
really beautiful.
I think we made a good team. And this year has been amazing. When my father died, I decided that I needed to do something because I started in a depressive situation after my father died, and I started searching about the importance of psychedelics and how psychedelics, particularly psilocybin and LSD and MDMA, helps to promote neuroplasticity. So I started doing research on that, and I find out that it is an amazing tool to help people with conditions that are really hard to approach in a traditional therapeutical techniques, to allow people who have been in a very complicated situation for a long time.
Traumatic situation.
Not only traumatic, but very long-lasting condition of depression or anxiety. And the neuroplasticity given by the psychedelics helps to break these behaviors that are repeatedly driving you into a very dark place. And neuroplasticity with psychedelics allow you to break these behaviors very fast, as long as you are in a therapeutic process. So I decided that I wanted to do that and help myself, because if I'm not okay, I cannot help anyone to get better.
Yes.
And I wanted to do that. And it's a very deep and profound process of self-discovery and rediscovery and redefinition of who you are. And I really would like to help other people to get out of that dark places and that states that are really hard to manage, and leads you to a lot of self-destruction and construction of yourself in a very fast way, and a very good one, because you feel really connected with the universe and you really acknowledge that you are just a tiny part of something much, much bigger. And we are part of that. And if you know that, you don't feel alone anymore, and you can do things in a very different way. So that is something very important. This year has been amazing because here in the States you have a lot of research, clinical trials happening, a lot of people doing things, super interesting things that allows you to go beyond the bad status that these 3 drugs represent, like mushrooms, LSD, or MDMA. And if you use it wisely, you can do amazing things.
So it has medicinal effect.
Yes, a very profound medicinal and therapeutic effect.
And you also talked about, I remember about when you talked about sexology, about trauma. That
sexual
is
trauma.
By, sexual traumas. So you also specialize in that?
I want to do therapeutic psychedelics to approach sexual trauma. Sexual trauma can be really, really binding, and it's a lot of the social construction of what is sexuality. And in the Western world, we think we have, because of religions in plural, that it's not good, that should not have pleasure, and that is something that doesn't allow you. Yeah, it's forbidden and doesn't allow you to get to a point that you have intimacy. Not intimacy thinking on sexuality, but intimacy as a way to know each other. Sexuality is not sex. Sexuality is about taking care of others, and the pleasure even in like the weather and the rain and food and the clothes you wear and the music you listen and how you enjoy yourself.
Yes.
So it's much, much more than just what we think is sex, right? So sexuality is a lot of things. And sexual trauma can come from any kind of place. A little comment on TV or a program or a pair, or your parents, your grandparents, something. So we don't know how much this sexual trauma affects us. Our self-assurance, our knowing what we want. So I think I want to specialize in this sexual trauma and trying to help people through psychedelics to have a better life and enjoy themselves, enjoy other people, and taking care of other people, because emotional responsibility is also a part of our sexuality. So if we know and we are responsible about the other's feelings, we can say clearly, I can do this but not that, I feel comfortable with this but not that, and we have to talk about it.
Expressing
and we have to express ourselves, our needs, but also recognize the needs of the other one. And even in friendship, you have to be emotionally responsible, because also friendship is part of our sexuality area, because it's what gives us pleasure and intimacy with friends, and how we treat our friends. It's a way that allow us to get together and close to other people and feel part of something, belong to something. So that is why I want to dig deeper into sexual trauma through psychedelics.
But it's really interesting, and I think this is something that most of our children are struggling to grow up with. They're not aware of this, and by the time they're adults, they lack the emotional intelligence to make smart decisions, conscious decisions. So these are some things that are very important in our education system.
Yes, and now with all the influence of technologies and all these new technologies, the phone, all these sitcoms, and all this
artificial intelligence.
Artificial intelligence. So we really need to work in the very smart way to approach kids, and they are under this idea of the TV shows. This body is the one you should have, and this is the hair, and these are the lips and the eyes and the makeup. So we need to be really, really aware that they are under that condition. Something that we were not that much. We were, but not that much, not that intense. So we really need to get to know each other and ourselves to be able to teach the same thing to the kids. Right?
Yes. Now our kids in this time and generation has a lot of content floating around in social media, but for us we just had Michael Jackson. We just wanted to look like him.
Or Madonna. Or
doing...
in my case, Guns N' Roses or Metallica, right?
So it was very few, but now it's just flooded. The internet
it's too much.
Flooded.
It's too much information, too much images, too much contents of the songs, for example. And people don't realize that the songs have something very important, because music don't go into our right brain, part of the brain. They go to the left. And the left part of our brain is the one that receives without analyzing. So we receive these lyrics and we don't even know what we are singing. And the lyrics are so important. If you know what you're singing, it's probably you won't repeat that, because you know that it's not okay. A lot of songs, like the typical, and I always mention this song, like the Sting, that every breath you take.
Yes.
It's really a stalker, and we don't even know that he's a stalker. And we sing that song in marriages, in the party, and I think it's so romantic, and it's not romantic.
You don't want someone like that.
No, you don't want someone like that in your life. So we really need to be aware first. We need to be aware, and then allow our kids to be aware of what they are choosing to hear, what they are choosing to feel passionate about, and what all these things mean.
So, to close the conversation, I am going to ask you a question which I ask everybody. Is what motivates you to do the things that you're doing? You're so passionate about anthropology, studying people, their behavior. So what motivates you to do the things that you do every day? What is your motivation?
My motivation is that we can be better, and we can be better together. We cannot be better alone. And if I know something that can help other one, just anyone, I will try. And if they want my help, because I cannot help freely to everyone. No one, not all the people needs to hear you. But if you can help someone with one person that you can really help to get better in many other ways, that is more than enough. I think we are not the saviors of the world, but we can help one by one. And first we need to help us to help others.
Beautiful.
So my motivation is help someone.
Beautiful.
and try to make his life better, even if it's a little bit on his life.
Little by little every day.
Little by little.
So thank you so much for taking time and doing this with me, Ale, today.
Thank you for having me. This is a moment that I've been waiting for a few weeks.
Oh, wow.
I really wanted to talk to you about. I didn't knew the questions, but I really wanted to do this.
Yes, we're doing this very spontaneously.
You've been a very calming presence in the lives of ourselves, all the Spurs community here, and we really appreciate you from the bottom of my heart. I love you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. I love you all too. So thank you for listening to Conversations with Tenzin. This is the reason why I do this podcast. I meet a lot of interesting, a lot of fascinating, dedicated. She's a dedicated mom and a dedicated wife, a partner, a partner in crime.
A partner in crime.
I meet a lot of wonderful people in my life and on campus. So I don't want to forget the people and their stories, especially the stories. I feel like every person brings an interesting story, they carry an interesting story. So this is the reason why I'm doing this podcast. So thank you so much for listening to Conversations with Tenzin.